Good afternoon. My name is Nelson Rakes, and the article that we're going to talk about today is one called Values Voting. I found this on a website called Psychology Today, and it was done on April 16th. It was published on April 16th this year, 2020. The research described here was done by two assistant professors that kind of got together. I don't know where Bowling Green University is in relation geographically to Texas Tech University, but I don't know. Maybe the guys knew each other before, whatever. But the two people that put this article on are both assistant professors of psychology at these two respective universities. And it goes on to explain what values voting is and how it is one of the many causes of the political polarization in our country, and not just with the general population and the political elites. It's everybody. And I've got a couple excerpts over here that I wanted to read real quick, and in the name of time, I'm just going to jump right into that. Kind of helps describe what values voting is and gives you a little taste of the article. It's a really good read. You should go check it out. But it says here, values voters support politicians primarily on the basis of their perceived moral characters. It is much easier to figure out what values a person stands for than it is to learn about them and all their policies and figure out whether or not they'll actually work. Now, politicians realize this, of course, and so they tailor their campaign message to public statements to create an impression of themselves as good people in the eyes of their constituents. And there's actually science behind this. So a lot of the science that we've talked about in psychology class is behind this, and that is kind of touched on here. It says Enke's, which Enke is one of their sources. He's a scientist, psychological scientist. Insight is to fit this dynamic into the economic framework of supply and demand. So voters demand public displays of support for the values they like, and they're willing to vote for the candidate who best expresses those values. In response, politicians use their political rhetoric to supply the voters with expressions of the values they like. Voters demand a moral pageant, and the politicians put one on. It's just a bunch of pageantry is all it is. Just like movie stars, we have no idea how these people really are in real life. They are to us who they want to be to us. Enke tests this model by comparing presidential candidates' vote share in each U.S. county with the most common moral beliefs in that county. Based on Jonathan Haidt's Moral Foundations questionnaire, it's another one of their resources they used for this article. Counties were placed along moral value spectrum. So a county is placed at one end or the other of the spectrum. You have your universalist values that include things like treating people as equals, respecting their rights, and caring for the weak. And then you have the other end of the spectrum where it's more communal values, which includes things like loyalty, punishment for betrayal, and respect for authority, which, of course, you can fall anywhere as a mixture of that. But they did find, generally, moral psychologists found that conservatives put more weight on communal values, with liberals favoring universalist values. And then it says right here, of course, people and groups can emphasize any mix of these values along the spectrum from universalist to communal. So what they're saying is they're putting all this science into studying how the groups in different areas want to be talked to. What do you want to hear in Hill County? Well, it might not be the same thing they want to hear in Blaine County or down in Lonoke County, Arkansas, or where at Long Beach, California, might want to hear something totally different. It's wherever they are, that's what they're going to say to the people that are there. And my opinion on all this is it's lazy. This is just another symptom of an increasingly lazy country. I say nobody, that's wrong. Very few people are actually going out and doing their own research and looking at the policies that these people are putting out, looking at the things that these people stand for that are actually going to matter. Now, is anybody perfect? No, I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. Some of the stuff that I do, you may not agree with. Some of the stuff you do, I may not agree with. But in the roles that we play in each other's life, on the level that we play that role, are the things that we do there, are your policies and my policies about where we're interacting, does that line up? And that takes a little bit more. It's not as easy to figure that out as it is to just look and say, oh, you know, this person said something I like. You know, I like purple. Purple's pretty cool, and they like purple, so I'm going to vote for them. It needs to stop. It really needs to stop. And in order to put this out into the real world, you know, how can it be used? What did this say over here? An explanation of how this psychological research can be applied to real world applications. Quit being lazy. Get off your butt, or heck, stay on your butt. It doesn't matter. The computer's right yonder. iPad's right there. I got a cell phone over here. I mean, use that. The interwebs has all the answers. Well, sometimes, if you ask it the right questions. But stop just taking what these people say at face value and just running with it. You know, I don't agree with everything Trump said, nor should anybody. I don't even think he agrees with everything he says. But I think he was still the best idea that we had in 2016. And it's really looking like he's going to be the best idea we've got in 2020. But that's yet to be seen. I really appreciate your time, and I hope this is what you were looking for.